It really is a materials revolution out there, and that means there's a lot of opportunities to invest.
By some estimates, the fashion industry is responsible for as much as 10% of the global greenhouse gas emission. So the question is, can the fashion industry be turned into a climate solution? To discuss this question, I am here together with Nina Marenzi, founder and director of the Sustainable Angle. Can you walk us through the main challenges with conventional textiles?
Yeah, so on one hand, it is very complex, but on the other hand, it's also very simple. We need to change the main materials that we're using today. So that is more than about 75% is a combination of conventional cotton and polyester and nylon, etc. The reason why it is not that easy is because the textile supply chain is very long and it is very complex. So there's a lot of steps to go from a fiber grown in soil over to it being completely finished, ready to be made into a garment.
So this is not only about stopping or reducing its polluting factor, but really much about also the regenerative potential of agriculture and then ultimately fashion.
Initially, the point of the Future Fabrics Expo was to show materials that have a lower environmental footprint. Of course, then very quickly came the social aspect. So how is the labor behind all of these materials? What are the working conditions, animal welfare? But then ultimately, and now the point is to go beyond that and to say, so how can the materials that we're using have a positive impact on people and planet? How can we produce things that stay within planetary boundaries? And there are ways of achieving that.
And if we speak about what can we do, so of course there are the brands, the production, there is a responsibility there. But what about the consumer responsibility and especially what can consumers do to also be more responsible in their behavior?
Yeah, the first thing is to not think of yourself as a consumer, but as a responsible citizen, because it means you are aware of your actions, you are aware of what you're causing, you're aware of how your products are being created. So that would be the first step. The second is to rethink everything that you have in your wardrobe. Can you reuse it? Can it be mended? Can you reinvent it? Before you just simply go and buy something. So that's the first step. The second would be going to the whole second-hand, pre-loved, all of that. Resale market is huge and is growing, and there are so many amazing digital platforms that make it super easy these days. And then ultimately, if you do need to buy a new product, then you should really be responsible and do some research.
And if we take the investor view, what would be your advice for investors seeking to have a positive impact in that area?
Well, simply probably to realize that sustainability in fashion doesn't mean investing in a sustainable fashion brand, which seems to be something that is banded around a lot. It's actually much more interesting to look at the textile supply chain, because that's where the innovations are happening. That's where a lot of investment opportunities lie from an innovations perspective, from a engineering perspective, starting from microfiber filters that go into washing machines to how your garments are being dyed, finished. There's a whole new world out there of avoiding toxic dyes. It's just new materials. There are so many opportunities to invest, which goes way beyond brands. It really goes down the textile supply chain. So there's lots of opportunities there.
To have a step back and look at the whole supply chain as a potential opportunity.
We call it, to be very modern, we call it #materials revolution. It really is a materials revolution out there, and that means there's a lot of opportunities to invest.